They have missed the fundamental truth. Think and Grow Rich is not an instruction manual. It is a coded document. It is an alchemical text. It is a treasure map. And most people have spent their lives admiring the drawing ships and islands on the surface while completely missing the hidden symbols, the secret language, the lines of longitude and latitude buried just beneath the ink. My name is not important. What is important is that I, like perhaps many of you, spent the better part of my life as a diligent, faithful student of Hill's work. I did not just read his books. I consumed them. I treated them as gospel. I followed the instructions to the letter. I defined my purpose. I attempted to build my alliances. I repeated my affirmations until the words lost all meaning. And I achieved a measure of success, yes. I built a career. I provided for my family. I was, by the world's standards, a success. But I was not a master. There was a profound and frustrating gap between the life I had built and the effortless, world-shaping power that seemed to emanate from the pages of Hill's writings. I could feel there was a deeper current, a more powerful engine that I had not yet engaged. I was rowing a magnificent ship with all my might, but I had not yet learned how to raise the sails to catch the great unseen winds that Hill spoke of. And so I began a different kind of journey. Not a journey of application, but of deconstruction. I put aside the desire to use the book, and I truly understand. I approach not as a photographer, for the patterns, the repeated phrases, the unusual emphasis on certain words, harmony, vibration, transmutation, obsession. I realized that Hill was writing in two languages at once. The first was an exoteric language of practical, actionable steps for the masses. The second was an esoteric language, a series of hidden codes for those who were ready to comprehend the deeper spiritual mechanics of reality. And one day, after years of this relentless, almost obsessive study, a veil was lifted. I was reading the chapter on the mastermind, perhaps the 100th time. The words were me, but today, a single phrase struck me with the force of a physical blow. Hill did not describe the mastermind as a tool for networking. He described it as a spiritual force. He spoke of a third mind being created, an invisible, intangible entity. In that instant, everything shifted. I realized the mastermind was not a psychological tool. It was a psychic, spiritual phenomenon. It was not about what was said in the room. It was about the energetic field that was created between the minds in the room. It was not about exchanging information. It was about fusing consciousness. That single realization was the key that unlocked the first great door. And once that door was open, I began to see the other codes everywhere. I saw that the sixth sense was not a mystical guess, but a trainable faculty of the subconscious. I saw that applied faith was not mere positive thinking, but a scientific process of energetic impression. I saw that a burning desire was not a feeling of motivation, but an alchemical state of being. And I saw that the law of compensation was not a moralistic platitude, but an impersonal, universal law of energetic reflection. I understood finally that Hill had not written a book about how to get rich. He had written a book about the laws of conscious creation. It was a manual on how to align one's own mind with the creative forces of the universe itself. This is the journey we are about to embark upon together today. I will be your guide through this labyrinth of deeper meaning. I will pull back the curtain. I will give you the decoder ring. We will move beyond the surface-level teachings that everyone knows, and we will decipher the hidden codes that only a few have ever understood. The impact of this shift in perspective is immediate and profound. The moment you stop seeing these principles as a set of disconnected self-help tips and start seeing them as an integrated system for influencing reality at a fundamental level, the frustration falls away. The struggle ceases. You stop trying to push the river, and you learn to direct its flow. Understanding just one of these codes can shift you from a state of effort to a state of effortlessness, from a state of striving to a state of owing. It will be by decoding the nature of the mind, understanding as a search force of creating a third mind. We will then unlock the sixth sense and applied faith, revealing intuition not as magic, but as your most practical and powerful business tool. We will journey into the fiery heart of a burning desire, learning the mental alchemy required to transmute a fleeting wish into an unstoppable obsessive force. We will then explore some of the deeper, often overlooked codes, the secret of self-control as a form of energy transmutation, and the profound power of doing more than you are paid, for as a trigger for activating the cosmic law of increasing returns. And finally, we will arrive at the ultimate code, the one that binds all the others together, the radical nature of personal responsibility and your role as the sole architect of your universe, operating under a set of immutable cosmic laws. This is not a lecture for the casual seeker. It is a deep dive for the serious student. It is for the individual who knows, deep in their soul, that they are meant for more than a life of quiet desperation and mediocre results. It is for the one who is ready to stop just reading the map, is finally ready to understand the secrets of the mapmaker. Forget everything you think you know about Napoleon Hill. The journey into what he truly meant begins now. Having pulled back the curtain to reveal that Napoleon Hill's work is not a simple instruction manual, but a profound, coded text, our work of deciphering now begins in earnest. We shall take the first and perhaps most powerful of these hidden codes and hold it up to the light of deep inquiry. It is a principle so widely known that its name is familiar to all, yet its true nature is a secret guarded from the masses. We are here today to speak of the master mind. Let us first examine the exoteric teaching, the surface-level interpretation that has become common practice in your modern world. The average student reads my predecessor's work and concludes the mastermind is a sophisticated form of networking. They see it as an accountability group, a business breakfast club, a gathering of ambitious individuals who meet to exchange advice, to share contacts, and to keep one another motivated. They form these groups with the best of intentions. They meet, they talk, they plan, they strategize, and they achieve perhaps a small measure of mutual benefit, a new client, a helpful suggestion, a moment of encouragement, and they believe they have formed a mastermind. I am here to tell you with all the conviction in my soul that they have not. They have formed a committee, they have formed a support group, they have formed a temporary alliance of self-interest. These things are not without their uses, but they are a pale, flickering shadow of the awesome, reality-shaping power that Hill was truly describing. To mistake a networking group for a mastermind is to mistake a single candle for the power of the sun. It is to admire the blueprint of a cathedral and believe you have experienced the sacredness of its sanctuary. To find the hidden code, to unlock the true power of this principle, we must look beyond the practical advice and delve into the specific, almost mystical language Hill used. He did not describe the mastermind as a tool for business strategy. He described it as a spiritual force. He did not speak of collective brainstorming. He spoke of the creation of a third mind, an invisible, intangible entity that is born from the alliance. This is the first great key to the code. The mastermind is not a psychological tool. It is a psychic and spiritual phenomenon. Its primary purpose is not to exchange the known information already present in the minds of its members. Its primary purpose is to create a direct conduit to a higher intelligence, to the universal storehouse of all knowledge, to what Hill called infinite intelligence. The goal is not to share ideas, but to receive them. Let us explore this third mind, for it is the very heart of the mystery. It is an alchemical principle. In the world of chemistry, you can take two elements, hydrogen and oxygen, and when they are combined in the right proportion, they cease to be what they were. They become a new substance, water, with properties that neither possessed alone. So it is with the mind. When two or more minds come together, not just in conversation, but in a state of deep, profound, and perfect harmony, their individual energies fuse. They create a new, unified field of consciousness. This is the third mind. It is not the sum of individual minds. It is a new entity altogether. It is a psychic vortex, a spiritual crucible, where the combined mental energy of the group is amplified to such a high vibrational frequency that it can attract and receive thoughts, ideas, and flashes of insight that were previously inaccessible to any of the individual members. This is the source of all genius. This is the secret behind every great breakthrough. It is the invisible force that guided the hands and minds of the great leaders I studied. I saw this in the legendary alliance of Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, and Harvey Firestone. When these men gathered, they were not merely having a business meeting, they were engaging in a sacred ritual. Ford, the titan of industry and systems. Edison, the vessel of invention. Firestone, the master of commerce. Their individual minds were brilliant. But when they came together in a spirit of true harmony, their combined consciousness created a third mind that literally architected the future of the modern world. The ideas that emerged from their alliance were greater than any single one of them could have conceived alone. They were not just sharing their own knowledge, they were collectively channeling a higher knowledge. This brings us to the second and most crucial element of the code, the nature of harmony. The surface-level reader believes harmony means that everyone in the group must be friends, that they must always agree, that the meetings must be free of conflict. This is a childish and dangerous misunderstanding. Harmony, in the context of the mastermind, is not about social politeness. It is a term of physics. It is about vibrational alignment. Every thought you think emits a vibration. Your dominant mental state creates a cumulative, energetic signature. Harmony is what occurs when the fundamental vibrational purpose of each member is in perfect alignment. It is not necessary that they be in the same business or have the same personality. It is only necessary that their core, definite purpose vibrates on a similar frequency of creation, of service, of a burning desire for excellence. This is why so many modern masterminds are powerless. They are filled with discord, not the discord of healthy debate, but the deep psychic discord of misaligned purpose. One member may be driven by a genuine desire to create value. Another may be driven by a desperate, grasping fear of scarcity. A third may be secretly motivated by envy of others' success. President only extract what he can for his own self-end. Such a group, no matter how intelligent or successful its individual members may be, can never create a third mind. The energies are not fusing, they are repelling. The individual vibrations are canceling each other out, creating a state of psychic static. The connection to infinite intelligence is severed. All that remains is a room full of egos, competing for airtime. I cannot overstate the importance of this. One single negative, discordant, or misaligned mind can neutralize the power of the entire alliance. It is the single drop of poison in the well. It is the grounding wire that shorts out the entire circuit. Therefore, the hidden code of the mind reveals that the strategic assembly of your alliance is the most important executive decision you will ever make. And the criteria for selection have almost nothing to do with what the world values. You must stop looking for resumes and start sensing for resonance. You must stop looking for success and start looking for soul. Your first question when considering a new member should not be, what has this person accomplished? It should be, what is the nature of this person's spirit? What is their dominant mental vibration? Are they a creator or a critic? Do they operate from a mindset of abundance or of scarcity? Is their definite purpose, no matter how different from my own, one that seeks to build and to serve? This is an intuitive process. It requires you to use the very sixth sense we will discuss later. You must learn to feel the energetic signature of a person. You must trust your gut feeling about whether their spirit truly harmonizes with yours. Building a mastermind is not like forming a business partnership. It is more like assembling a spiritual council. Its members must be bound by something deeper than a desire for profit. They must be bound by a shared commitment to a higher standard of excellence and a spirit of absolute unwavering harmony. When you have assembled such a group, the way you conduct your meetings must also change. A true mastermind session is not a typical business meeting, it is a sacred ritual. The space must be protected. There must be an agreement of absolute confidentiality and trust. All egos must be left at the door. The session must begin with a clear statement of the group's definite purpose to align the energies of all members. The process is not one of debate, but of collective inquiry. When a member presents a challenge, the goal of the others is not to give simple advice based on their own past experience. It is to hold that challenge in their collective consciousness and to open themselves up to the third mind, listening for the new, breakthrough insight that could not have been accessed alone. There must be a spirit of complete and selfless giving. Each member must enter the show with primary intention of contributing, not receiving. The paradox of mastermind, the more you see from it. Instead of holding your own spiritual energy into the third mind, you make it more powerful, and in turn, it delivers back to you wisdom and insights of a far greater magnitude. When you engage in this process correctly, the results will seem miraculous to the uninitiated. Solutions to problems that have plagued you for years will appear in a flash of inspiration. The exact person you needed to meet will coincidentally call you the next day. A new, game-changing business idea will download into your mind, fully formed. This is not a coincidence. This is not luck. This is the law. You have successfully created a psychic vortex, a unified field of consciousness that is so powerful and so perfectly aligned with your purpose that it begins to bend reality around it. It is attracting to you the physical equivalent of your group's dominant thoughts. So, the decoded action, the true application of this profound principle, is this: dissolve your committees, resign from your network groups, and begin the sacred work of assembling your true mastermind. Seek not successful people, but harmonious souls. Seek not an exchange of favors, but a fusion of purpose. Seek not advice, but a connection to a higher intelligence. Build your group with the care and intention of a high priest assembling a sacred council. Protect its harmony with the ferocity of a warrior guarding a temple. And when you meet, do so with the reverence of one who is about to engage in an act of creation. When you do this, you will stop merely having meetings. You will stop merely getting advice. You will begin to access a power so profound that the world will look upon your results and call it genius. They will call it magic. But you will know the truth. You will know that you have simply and finally deciphered the first great hidden code of success. We have journeyed together into the sanctum of philosophy, deciphering code lie hidden places of unmasked profound truth. The work of Napoleon Hill are not instruction you, but a map to the science of concentration. We have just concluded our exploration of the master mind, understanding it not as a simple group, but as a potent psychic a spiritual amplifier for your mental power. You now understand how to multiply your force through a harmonious alliance with others. But an amplifier is useless if the original signal is weak. A council of giants cannot help a man who does not first possess power within himself. And so, we must now turn our attention from the external alliance to the internal faculties that generate all true and lasting power. We arrive now at the most esoteric, the most misunderstood, and therefore the most powerful of all the hidden codes. We are here to speak of the twin pillars of all miracles, the two faculties that bridge the gap between the finite mind of man and the infinite intelligence of the universe. We are here to decipher the true nature of the sixth sense and applied faith. To the uninitiated, to the surface-level reader, these concepts are often the point at which the philosophy seems to depart from the practical and enter the realm of the mystical. The modern, cynical mind often dismisses the sixth sense as a random, unreliable gut feeling, a vestige of a superstitious past. And it scoffs at applied faith, mistaking it for blind, Pollyanna-ish optimism or wishful thinking. This dismissal is the single greatest tragedy of modern personal development. It is the act of standing before the vault of unimaginable riches and throwing away the key because it does not look like the mundane keys one is used to. This is the great filter that separates those who achieve mere worldly success from those who become true masters of their reality. I am here today to tell you that these two principles are not vague, mystical concepts. They are tangible, trainable faculties of the mind. They operate under definite laws, as real and as dependable as the laws of physics. The sixth sense is not magic. It is the function of a highly developed, practical mental apparatus. And applied faith is not hope. It is the scientific process of energetic causation, the very mechanism by which thought is transmuted into its physical equivalent. To understand these codes is to understand the very engine of creation. So I ask you to set aside your modern skepticism, open your mind, not to superstition, but to a deeper, more profound science. Let us begin by deciphering the most misunderstood of these powers, applied faith. I have taught, as did Hill, that faith is the head chemist of the mind. But what does this mean? Most people think of faith as a passive belief, an acceptance of a doctrine, or hopeful wish that things will turn out for the best. This is not the faith that builds empires. That is a pale, lifeless imitation of the real thing. Applied faith is not a belief. It is a state of being. It is not passive. It is an active, dynamic, and creative force. Let's be precise in our decoding. Thought by itself is a fleeting, formless unit of energy. It has almost no power. A desire, a wish for something is a thought which you have attached mild emotion. It has slightly more power, but it is still a form, easily dissipated. Applied faith is what happens when you take a single, your definite chief aim, and you deliberately and consistently blend it with the powerful, positive emotions of belief, of gratitude, and of certainty, until that emotionalized thought becomes your dominant mental state. This is an act of mental alchemy. You are taking the intangible energy of a thought and giving it substance. You are clothing it in the potent vibrations of emotion. When this is done, the thought ceases to be a mere thought. It becomes what we might call a thought form, an organized, vibrating vortex of energy that now has a life of its own. This emotionalized thought form is then impressed upon the great, fertile medium of your subconscious mind. Your subconscious, as we have discussed, does not reason. It does not argue. It accepts any command that is given to it with sufficient emotional intensity and repetition. When you achieve the state of applied faith, you are no longer asking your subconscious to accept your goal. You are commanding it to. You are presenting it with a finished, emotionally realized blueprint and ordering it to begin construction. This is the scientific process. It is a formula. Definite purpose plus sustained positive emotion repeated through autosuggestion equals applied faith. Once the state of applied faith is achieved, your subconscious mind accepts your goal, not as something you will have in the future, but as something you already possess on the energetic plane. And this is the secret of all secrets. The moment the subconscious accepts this new reality, it begins to work tirelessly, through means both seen and unseen, to rearrange your physical world to match this new internal blueprint. This is not positive thinking. Positive thinking is a shallow and often temporary state. A man can think positive thoughts all day, but if his deep underlying belief, his faith is rooted in scarcity and fear, his positive thought like a thin paint on a rotten foundation. Faith is the act of rebuilding the foundation itself. It is a deep internal wiring. How is it cultivated? It is no matter of luck. It is a matter of disciplined practice. You must act as if your success were already a foregone conclusion. You must speak, walk, and carry yourself not as the person who is trying to achieve the goal, but as the person who has already achieved it. This acting as if is not a form of self-deception. It is a powerful tool of autosuggestion. You are sending a constant, undeniable stream of evidence to your subconscious. The new reality is true. You must guard your mind with a ferocity of a warrior, for your faith is under constant assault from the great enemies: fear, doubt, indecision, and worry. Each of these is a negative emotion, a counter vibration that, if allowed to take root, will neutralize the creative power of your faith. When a thought of doubt enters your mind, you must not argue with it. You must implement it. You must immediately deliberately turn conscious attack your faith and right feeling the faith of reality. It is the daily, hourly discipline of maintaining a specific mental and emotional state, regardless of your external circumstances. The world will present you with evidence of your old reality. Your bank account, your current position, the opinions of others, all will scream that your faith is a lie. And your job is to calmly and persistently ignore that evidence, and to hold true to the greater evidence of your internal vision. This is the test of the alchemist. And it is a test you must pass. For when your faith becomes more real to you than the so-called facts of your current condition, the facts must, by universal law, change to conform to your faith. You are not wishing for a future reality. You are impressing an energetic command upon the present moment that forces a new future into existence. This brings us to the second of the veiled faculties, the sixth sense. If applied faith is the great transmitter that sends the signal of your purpose out into the universe, the sixth sense is the great receiver that brings back the answers, the plans, and the guidance. The surface-level reader, as we have noted, dismisses this as a mystical, unreliable gut feeling. They see it as something outside the realm of practical business and logical decision-making. This is a profound error in judgment. Let us decode the sixth sense. It is not a magical power that you are either born with or not. It is a faculty of the mind that is cultivated and developed. It is the capstone of the entire philosophy, the final principle that only begins to function reliably after you have mastered the others. What is the mechanism of this faculty? It operates in two ways, one internal and one external. The first mechanism is internal. Your subconscious mind, as I have stated, is a supercomputer. Throughout your life, it has been recording every sight, every sound, every conversation, every emotion, every subtle nuance of experience. The vast majority of data is not accessible to conscious mind. It is a lack of ability to withdraw the card. With a complex decision or problem, your conscious, logical mind can only work with the few books it has on its desk. It analyzes the known facts and attempts to reach a conclusion. But your subconscious mind in the background is cross-referencing the entire billion-book library. It is seeing patterns, connections, and correlations across decades of your experience that are utterly invisible to your logical mind. When this subconscious supercomputer arrives at a conclusion, it cannot deliver a logical argument to you. It speaks a different language. It communicates this complex conclusion as a simple, powerful signal, a feeling, a hunch, a gut feeling, a sudden, inexplicable sense of knowing. This is not a guess. This is the output of a data analysis so profound and so personal that no external machine could ever replicate it. The second mechanism is external. Once your mind has been cleared of the static of fear and doubt and has been tuned to a high, steady vibrational frequency through the practice of applied faith and a burning desire, it becomes a sensitive receiving set. The sixth sense is the faculty that can then pick up on signals from outside your own mind. It can receive flashes of inspiration and breakthrough ideas from the great reservoir of infinite intelligence. It is the faculty that allows your mastermind alliance to tap into the third mind. It is the source of all true genius, of all ideas that are genuinely new. In the age of AI, the importance faculty cannot be stated. Your new artificial partner is the master logic based on data. It is the king of the known world. But your sixth sense, your intuition, is your passport to the unknown. Your ability to perceive that doesn't exist in any base. Therefore, the code is your intuition, is your visible and practical business, is ultimate competitive advantage. World leaders who only follow the logic of their machines will be a world of predictable, incremental progress. But the great breakthrough, the disruptive innovations, the acts of true genius will always come from the man or woman who has cultivated the courage to listen to this inner voice. So, how does one cultivate this faculty? It is not done directly. It is the result of many other principles. However, there are practices that can create the fertile ground for it to flourish. First, you must practice solitude and silence, though the sense cannot be heard in a mind filled with noise and chatter of the world. You must create daily periods of quiet contemplation, of meditation, where you simply listen. Second, you must trust in your hunches, beginning on your intuitive feelings in low situations. Keep a journal of these hunches. Note you followed your and what the result was. Note when you ignored and what was. Over time, you will body the first level of your intuition's reliability. This will give you curiosity in this higher. Third, pose questions to your subconscious. Before you go to sleep at night, when your mind is relaxed and receptive, hold the question of your greatest challenge in your mind. Ask your subconscious and infinite intelligence for a solution. Then, release it. Do not strain for an answer. The answer will often come to you when you least expect it, in the shower, on a walk, or in that state between sleeping and waking. This is your sixth sense delivering the message. These two principles, then, are the yin and yang of creation. Applied faith is the masculine projective force. It is the act of sending your command out into the universe. The sixth sense is the feminine. Receptive force, it is the act of receiving the wisdom and the plan for that command's fulfillment. One without the other is incomplete. Faith without the guidance of intuition can become blind and stubborn. Intuition without the driving power of faith can become passive and unactionable. But together, they form a perfect, closed circuit of power. You faith to impress your desire upon the universe. You use your sixth to receive the guidance for act. You then act upon that guidance more faith, which in turn makes your receiver more sensitive to further guidance. It is a virtuous cycle of ever-increasing power and clarity. This is the ultimate advantage of the conscious creator in the AI age. The machine has all logic in the world. You have the power to believe and the wisdom to receive. You are not merely a calculator of probabilities. You are a co-creator with the infinite. Embrace these veiled faculties. Train them, trust them, and use them. They are your birthright. And in this new age, they are the very definition of your irreplaceability. We have journeyed through the unseen architecture of the mind. We have decoded the mastermind, understanding it as a spiritual amplifier. We have unveiled the profound, practical power of the sixth sense and applied faith, recognizing them as the internal compass and the creative force that connect you to a higher intelligence. You now possess the map, the counsel, and the divine guidance system. But a map, a counsel, and a compass are of no use to a ship that has no engine. They are mere potential, awaiting the force that will propel them across the vast and often turbulent ocean of reality. We arrive now at the very heart of the furnace. We come to the principle that provides the fire, the fuel, the raw, propulsive energy behind every great achievement in human history. It is a force so powerful that it can burn through all obstacles, melt all resistance, and transmute the cold, hard iron of a mere wish into the sharpened steel of reality. We are here to speak of, and to finally decode, the true nature of a burning desire. Of all the phrases I have inherited from the lexicon of Napoleon Hill, none is more famous, and none is more tragically misunderstood. In your modern world, the concept of desire has been diluted, cheapened, and equated with the fleeting, lukewarm sentiment of motivation. People speak of finding their passion as if it were a lost object, or they chase motivation like a drug, seeking a temporary high to get them through a difficult task. They attend seminars, they watch videos, they listen to speeches, all in the desperate hope of feeling motivated. And they have missed the entire point. Let me say this, the force of an unshakable motivation is a flickering candle. A burning desire is a raging inferno. Motivation is a guest visit for an evening. A burning desire, master of the who leaves. Motivation is a feeling you seek. A burning desire is a state of being you create. The surface-level reader of Hill's work believes that a burning desire is simply wanting something very, very badly. This is like saying that a star is merely a bright light in the sky. It is a description that captures none of the awesome gravitational reality-bending power of things itself. The hidden code, the esoteric, is that a burning desire is not an emotion you feel. It is an alchemical state of obsession you consciously and deliberately cultivate. It's the singular white-hot point in your mind that becomes so intense, so all-consuming, that it automatically incinerates all other thoughts, all possibilities, all other paths. It is the psychological and spiritual activity that for you is a future, and will manifest fear, or you'll perish. This is not exaggeration. This is the very definition of the state of mind that separates the titans from the talkers. The average man keeps his options open. He has a plan A, but in the back of his mind, he keeps a comfortable, well-furnished plan B. He wants to start a business, but he keeps his safe job just in case. He wants to achieve greatness, but he is unwilling to sacrifice his comfort. His desire is a preference, not a command. And the universe, which only responds to absolute conviction, gives him nothing. The master, the true student of this philosophy, understands the code. He understands the profound psychological power of burning the boats. When the great conqueror Hernán Cortés landed on the shores of Mexico to face a vastly superior force, he gave an order that has echoed through history: burn the ships. Was this the act of a madman? Number. It was the act of a master psychologist. In that single, irrevocable act, he eliminated the possibility of retreat from the minds of his men. The bridge to their past was gone. Ahead of them lay a glorious, uncertain victory. Behind them lay only the certainty of the sea. There was no plan B. Their minds, Now freed from the weakening energy of a backup plan, we're focused with a singular, desperate, and ultimately superhuman intensity on the one and only path forward, victory. This is the state of true burning desire. It is the act of mentally and spiritually burning every ship that could possibly take you back to the shores of your old, comfortable, mediocre life. It is a declaration to yourself, to your subconscious mind, and to the universe itself that you have left yourself no other option but to succeed. When you achieve this state, the entire concept of motivation becomes absurd. Do you need to motivate a drowning man to swim for the surface? Do you need to motivate a starving man to seek food? Of course not. The desire is so absolute, so primal, so intertwined with the very instinct for survival that action is no longer a choice. It is a reflex. This is the state you must create in relation to your definite chief aim. Your goal must become to your spiritual survival as air is to your physical survival. So, how is this alchemical state created? It is not a gift of gods. It is not a matter of temperament. It is a product of a deliberate, disciplined, and repeatable. It is the process which you take a formless wish and transmit it into an irresistible creative force. Let's break down this alchemical process. The process begins with raw material, a wish. A wish is a powerless, I wish I were successful. It has no form, no energy, no substance. It is a ghost in the attic of your mind. To begin the alchemical process, you must give this ghost a body. This is the first stage, crystallization through definiteness. You must take your vague wish and forge it into a definite chief aim. As we have discussed, this means being precise. What exactly do you desire? How much? By when? What will you give in return? The act of writing this down is the act of crystallization. You are taking the formless vapor of a wish and forcing it into a solid, crystalline structure. It now has a body, it is real, it is definite. But a crystal by itself is still inert. It has form, but no power. The next stage of the alchemy is to give it a magnetic charge. This is the second stage, magnetization through autosuggestion. You now take your crystallized aim and begin to feed your focused attention. This is the process of autosuggestion. It is not about mindlessly repeating empty words. It is a disciplined act of holding the thought of your definite purpose in your mind to the exclusion of all other thoughts over and over again. With each repetition, you are creating a magnetic field around that thought. It begins to grow stronger. It starts to pull toward other related thoughts. Your mind begins to automatically notice things in your environment that relate to your aim. You are magnetizing purpose, turning it from a simple object in mind into a gravitational center. But attention alone is not enough. To create a truly burning desire, the magnetized crystal must be placed in a furnace. This is the third and most critical stage, incineration through commitment. The stage of after you have magnetized your purpose, you make a irrevocable decision to eliminate all the possibility from your life. You must possibly tie to a path that does not direct to your definite purpose. This is the point of no return. This is where you quit the safe job that is dulling your soul. This is where you end the relationships that are draining your energy and distracting you from your mission. This is where you stop entertaining doubts and fears, not by arguing with them, but by refusing to give them any of your mental or emotional energy. You starve them of the attention they need to survive. This act of incineration is what transforms a strong interest into a white-hot obsession. There is now only one path. There is now only one reality that you are willing to accept. The burning of the boats provides the heat, the intense pressure that is necessary for the final stage of the alchemy. This is the fourth stage, fusion through applied faith. Now, in the furnace of absolute commitment, you take your magnetized, crystallized purpose and you fuse it with the most powerful emotion you can generate, the absolute, unwavering faith and feeling that your goal is already an accomplished fact. This is the final, magical step. It is here that the alchemical wedding takes place. The thought, your definite purpose, is fused with the feeling, your absolute faith. This fusion creates a new state of being. Your desire is no longer something you want. It has become a fundamental part of who you are. It is no longer a goal you are pursuing. It is a reality you are living from on the inside. This is a burning desire. When this state is achieved, the outward manifestations are profound and automatic. The problem of procrastination vanishes. Procrastination is merely the symptom of a weak desire. A man who is possessed by a burning desire does not need a productivity system to compel him to act. He is compelled by the very force of his own being. The pain of inaction becomes far greater than the pain of the effort required. Furthermore, this internal state of obsessive, faithful desire projects a powerful, charismatic energy. It is a vibrational signal that is broadcast from you into the universe. It attracts to you the people, the resources, and the opportunities that harmonize with your purpose. This is the true secret behind charisma. It is not a set of social techniques. It is the outward radiation of an inward, burning conviction. People are not drawn to you, they are drawn to your fire. And finally, this state reframes the very nature of obstacles. To a mind consumed by a burning desire, an obstacle is not a wall. It is a test. It is a puzzle. It is an opportunity to prove the depth of one's commitment. Fear and doubt, which feed on an unfocused, wavering mind, find no purchase in a mind that is consumed by a single great obsession. The fire of your desire simply incinerates them. So, the decoded action is this. Stop seeking fleeting motivation. It is a fool's errand. Instead, begin the sacred, disciplined work of the alchemist. Take your most cherished wish, crystallize it into a definite achievement, magnetize it with focused attention, place it in the furnace of commit by burning your oats, and then fuse it with the white-hot emotion of unwavering faith. Do this, and you'll create within a fire that cannot be extinguished. You'll not have to push yourself to act. You'll find yourself forward by a force so powerful, so absolute, and so irresistible that it itself seeks to rearrange its affairs to accommodate your inspired will. That is the power, the magic, and the hidden code of true burning desire. I've now decoded the engine of personal achievement. The mind as a psychic amplifier, intuition as a practical tool, and desire as an alchemical obsession. These are not simple self-help tips. They are deep, powerful codes that require commit to master. If you are serious about this journey, if you are ready to move beyond the surface and engage these profound truths, then commit now. Subscribe to this. Consider it first as a definite purpose and growth. It's a declaration you no longer cast, but a code of set. Now, let us decide the codes that govern our hour. We have together through the foundational codes of this profound philosophy. We have deciphered the true spiritual nature of the Mastermind Alliance. We have restored the faculties of the sixth sense and applied faith to their rightful place as powerful tools of creation. And in our last discourse, we stood before the very heart of the furnace, decoding the alchemical nature burning desire, understanding not mere motivation, but as a white-hot, singular session. Now understood the engine. Now how to start the fire with until it rages, heat makes possibly trivial. You've been given the propulsive force has been every in the history of mankind. An engine of such power, of such entity, without a master it controls, can easily run wild. A furnace that not properly channeled does not forge steel. It consumes the very workshop in which it burns. And so we arrive at the great balancing principle. We come to a code so deeply misunderstood that most people see it as a form of restriction, when in fact it is the secret to unlocking and directing limitless power. We are here today to decipher the alchemist's secret. We are here to speak of self-control. Let us begin by dismantling the prison of the common interpretation. The surface-level teaching, the one that the undisciplined mind clings to, is that self-control is a battle of suppression. It is seen as a grim, joyless act of willpower, a constant draining war against one's own nature. The man who practices this form of self-control is a man at war with himself. He is told to control his anger, so he buries it deep within, where it festers into resentment. He is told to control his passions, so he denies them, leading a life of quiet desperation. He is told to control his fear, so he pretends it does not exist, while it gnaws at the foundations of his courage. This is not mastery. This is a state of perpetual internal siege. This is the philosophy of the jailer, not the king. The man who merely suppresses his emotions is like a man sitting on top of a boiling pot, using all his strength to hold down the lid. He may appear calm on the outside, but inside he is consumed by the effort, and he knows with a dreadful certainty that eventually pressure will become too great and an explosion is inevitable. The hidden code, the esoteric truth that Napoleon Hill embedded for the true student is this: the purpose of self-control is not to suppress your energy, it is to transmute it. This is the secret of mental alchemist. Alchemy, as the ancients practiced it, is the art of transmuting base metals like lead into gold. Mental alchemy is the art of transmuting emotions into gold to achieve it. It is a philosophy not of restraint but of redirection. It is a science converting the raw, powerful, and often chaotic energies of emotional nature into the focused, disciplined, definite shame. To understand this, you must first adopt a new paradigm. You must stop judging emotions as good or bad. These are moralistic labels that have no place in the science of the mind. There are no bad emotions. There are only undirected emotions. The energies of anger, of fear, and of sexual desire are not your enemies. They are, in fact, the most potent sources of raw, undifferentiated power you possess. They are the spiritual equivalent of crude oil, dark, volatile, and immensely powerful. The average person, lacking the science of self-control, allows this crude oil to spill and ignite randomly. Provocation, and the energy of anger explodes into an argument, wasting his and damaging relationships. A moment of fear, and the energy paralyzes him in action. The powerful creative sex is distant indulgence, him natively drained. He slays his own internal resources, king sitting on a trophy, settling in poverty as military. The master, the alchemist who has deciphered this code, does not fear these powerful energies. He welcomes them. He sees them not as a threat to his composure, but as a signal that a shipment of raw fuel has just arrived at his mental workshop. His work is not to extinguish this fuel, for that would be a tragic waste of power, but to build and operate a sophisticated mental refinery, a system for channeling this raw energy away from destructive, reactive behavior and into constructive, creative action. Let's examine three great emotional energies and the alchemical process of their transmutation. First, let us speak of the most powerful of all human emotions, the energy of sex. I have thought this creative energy, when harnessed and transmuted, is driving force behind all forms of genius. Energy of itself. It fire that boost our greatest, our most inspired musicians, our passionate leaders, our relentless build empire. When this energy is, the disciplined mind is to express itself only through the physical tool, immediate release. There's nothing wrong with this expression, but for the man of great ambition, to allow this to be the only outlet for his creative force is like using a river that could power a city to merely water a single potted plant. The alchemist learns to control the flow of this river. When he feels this powerful creative energy stirring within him, he does not suppress it. Instead, through a conscious act of will, he redirects a portion of that energy upward. He builds a mental pipeline from his loins to his brain. He consciously channels that vibrant, creative life force and pours it into the furnace of his burning desire. He uses it to fuel his imagination, to energize his sales presentations, to give his leadership a magnetic quality that inspires loyalty and devotion. He does not destroy his passion. He elevates it. He uses the energy that creates life to give more life to his work, his art, his mission. Next, let us speak of the energy of anger. The world has taught you that anger is a negative, destructive emotion, a sin to be avoided. This is a shallow understanding. Anger, at its root, is a signal. It is a powerful message from your nervous system that a standard has been violated, a boundary has been crossed, or an injustice has occurred. It is a surge of immense energy designed to compel action. The untrained mind allows this energy to explode outward in the form of rage, blame, and destructive criticism. It is a chaotic, uncontrolled wildfire that burns everything in its path, most of all the man who unleashed it. The alchemist sees this surge of heat not as a command to attack, but as a notification that a massive amount of fuel has just been injected into his system. In the sacred pause between the feeling and the reaction, he makes a choice. He refuses to dissipate that precious energy in a pointless, destructive outburst. Instead, he opens the pipeline. He takes the raw, fiery energy of his indignation and channels it directly into his definite chief aim. He uses that anger to fuel a 48-hour work session that leaves his competitors in the dust. He transmutes that righteous indignation at injustice into the disciplined strategic plan for a social movement. He converts the sting of a personal insult into the relentless drive to prove his critics wrong, not with his words, but with the sheer scale of his success. The great reformers, the great revolutionaries, the titans who have triumphed over unimaginable adversity were not calm, placid men. They were men who had learned to take the fire of their anger and use it to forge a new reality. Finally, let us speak of the energy of fear. This is the most counterintuitive of all the transmutations. We are taught to conquer fear, to eliminate it. And while it is true that we must eliminate the paralyzing effect of fear, the raw energy of fear itself can be a powerful tool. Fear is a state of intense, heightened awareness. It floods your body with energy. It sharpens your senses. It is your nervous system preparing you for a moment of supreme importance. The untrained mind allows this energy to manifest as anxiety, panic, and retreat. It lets the fear control it. The alchemist, however, feels the fear and sees it as a gift. It is a signal that he is on the edge of his comfort zone, that he is engaged in a matter of great consequence. And take raw electric energy of fear and transmute, channels it into meticulous preparation. He converts it into a state of razor-sharp focus. He uses the heightened awareness it provides to see potential obstacles and plan for every contingency. The public speaker, before stepping on stage, feels the energy here. The amateur calls it stage fright and wishes it would go away. The master recognizes it as performance energy. He takes those butterflies and, through a disciplined act of transmutation, he commands them to fly in formation. He channels that nervous energy into a charismatic, powerful, and unforgettable performance. To destroy, he harnessed its energy. This is the hidden root of self-control. It is the path from being a slave to your emotions to becoming the master of your own energetic world. The process is not mystical. It is a trainable skill. It begins with awareness. You must become a dispassionate observer of your own internal states. You must learn to recognize the arising of a powerful emotion without immediately identifying with it. You are not your anger. You are the consciousness that is aware of the anger. The second step is the interruption. You must, through disciplined practice, create a sacred pause, a single moment of choice between the emotional stimulus and your habitual reactive response. It is in this silent moment that your freedom is born. The third step is the redirection. In that sacred pause, you must consciously and deliberately make a new choice. You must ask, how can I channel this immense energy toward my definite chief aim? You must then visualize the mental pipeline, and with an act of will, command the energy to flow into your creative work, not into your reactive behavior. The final step is immediate application. The redirected energy must be put to use. It cannot be allowed to stagnate. You must immediately engage in a constructive action that serves your purpose. Write the chapter, make the sales call, go to the gym, solve the complex problem. You must ground the transmuted energy in physical action. This is the art of the mental alchemist. It is the difference between being a piece of driftwood, tossed about by the waves of your own emotions, and being the captain of a powerful steamship, shoveling even the darkest coals of your nature into a blazing furnace to propel you with unstoppable force toward the harbor of your own choosing. This is the true meaning of self-control. It is not about feeling less. It is about using everything you feel. It is the ultimate form of personal power. You have within you a source of fuel, more potent than any physical resource on this planet. Stop allowing it to burn you. Learn to build the refinery. Learn to channel the fire. Master this, and you will become a force of nature. We have journeyed deep into the internal world. We have stood in the fiery furnace of a burning desire and learned the alchemist's secret of self-control, the art of transmuting the raw, volatile energies of emotion into the focused fuel of achievement. You have been given the codes to master your inner kingdom, to become the sovereign of your own thoughts, the commander of your own will. But a king who never leaves his castle, no matter how magnificent, rules over an empire of one. A philosophy of success that remains purely internal is not a philosophy at all. It is a daydream. The time has now come to project this cultivated internal power out into the world. We must now build the bridge between your inner state of being and your outer state of having. This brings us to a principle that governs your every interaction, every transaction, every exchange of value with the world. It is a code disguised as simple workplace advice, a cosmic law masquerading as a quaint moral platitude. The surface-level reader sees this principle and dismisses it as naive. The decoder understands that it is one of the most powerful and scientific methods for engineering abundance ever conceived. We are here today to decipher the hidden code behind the habit of doing more than you are paid for. Let us begin by sweeping away the debris of the common misunderstanding. The average man, the man who lives a life of quiet desperation, is a prisoner of a concept he calls a fair day's work for a fair day's pay. He sees his relationship with the world, with his employer, with his clients, as a simple, closed transaction. You will give me this, he says, and I will give you exactly this much in return, and not 1 ounce more. He believes this is a sign of cleverness, of protecting himself from exploitation. In reality, it is the signature of the servant's fallacy. It is a self-imposed prison of mediocrity. The man who gives only what he is paid for will, by an inescapable law, never be paid for more than he gives. He has entered into a contract of stagnation. He has declared to the universe that he is content to remain exactly where he is. His thinking is purely transactional, and so his life remains transactional, a flat, linear exchange of time for sustenance, with no room for exponential growth. The world of achievement does not belong to the transactional thinker. It belongs to the creative thinker. The hidden that lies high in a distance is the understanding that your service is not a payment for a debt, it is a seed that you plant. This brings us to the esoteric truth of the matter. The principle of doing more than you are paid for has very little to do with your current employer. It is not a strategy for currying favor with your boss. It is a deliberate scientific technique for activating two of the most powerful laws in the universe, the law of compensation and its more potent cousin, the law of increasing returns. Let us speak of the universe as a great, impartial, and infallible accountant. It operates a cosmic ledger. This ledger is not concerned with morality, good, evil. It is concerned only with balance. Every unit of energy, of service, out of the universe creates it. And by inescapable law, that debit must with corresponding credit. Nothing is ever lost. Every cause must have its effect. When you perform your work and give exactly the service for which you are paid, the ledger is balanced. The transaction is complete. The books are closed. There is no further action required. But when you consciously and willingly adopt the habit of doing more and better service than you are paid for, you do something remarkable. You create a surplus. You deliberately create an imbalance in the cosmic ledger. You put the universe in your debt. You create what I call a cosmic vacuum. And the universe, which abhors a vacuum, must rush in to fill it. It must, by its very nature, balance the books. It must return to you the surplus value you have created. And here is the secret that the surface-level reader will never grasp. The universe rarely pays its debts from the source where the debt was created. The man who follows this principle merely to get a raise from his current boss is thinking too small. He is looking for his reward from a single, limited faucet. He may or may not get that raise. His boss may be blind, or ungrateful, or simply not have the resources. And so, the man becomes discouraged and concludes that the principle does not work. But the master, the decoder, understands. He knows that he is not working for his boss at all. He is making a deposit into the universal bank, and that bank is infinitely vast and has infinite resources. He performs his extra service not for the praise of his manager, but with the quiet, unshakable confidence that he is setting a great unseen cause into motion. And the universe, in its perfect and impersonal wisdom, will balance the ledger through the path of least resistance. You may not get the raise, but a competitor who has been searching for someone with your exact attitude of excellence may call you with an offer that doubles your salary. An unexpected investment opportunity brought to you by a person who was silently impressed by your work ethic may appear. A new business idea, a flash of insight for a product that will serve millions, may drop into your mind, a direct payment from infinite intelligence for the surplus value you have been creating. The universe pays its debts. It does so in its own time, and in its own, often surprising and magnificent ways. The man who works only for his paycheck closes himself off from this cosmic flow. The man who consistently does more than he is paid for opens 100, 1,000 unforeseen channels through which his good can return to him. This is the law of compensation, but it is only the beginning. For when this practice is sustained, it activates an even more powerful law, the law of increasing returns. Consider the farmer. He does more than he is paid for. He clears the land, he plows the soil, he plants the seed, and he tends the crop, all with no guarantee of reward. He is putting immense value out into the world up front. What is his return? Does nature simply give him back the single seed he planted? Number. That would be a fair and balanced transaction. But nature is not merely transactional. It is creative and abundant. It takes his single seed of effort and returns to him a stalk of wheat bearing 100 seeds. This is the law of increased returns. Oh, it is service. When you consider the principle of going the extra mile, the universe does not just turn to you the value of what you have given. It returns that value multiplied. Your reputation for excellence grows exponentially. Your skills, sharpened by the extra effort, compound over time. The opportunities that come to you become larger and more significant. You do not just get a return, you get a return on your return. This is the hidden code. You are not working harder for a little more pay. You are engaging in a scientific process to activate the universe's natural tendency toward abundance and growth. So how, in a practical sense, does one make these deposits of surplus value? It is not always about working hours, it is about quality of the work. There are three primary currencies of surplus value. The first is the currency of quality. This is the commitment to excellence. It is the decision to become a true craftsman, an artist in whatever it is you do. It is the act of delivering a standard of work that is so far superior as expected that it inspires. A man who practices this, not just doing his job, he is making a statement. He is saying, a person of excellence. This quality is a form of value that is rare, is almost priceless. The second is currency of attitude. This is the most powerful currency of all. You mark your service, not judging, not with the sigh of a martyr, but with a genuinely positive, harmonious, and pleasant mental attitude. This positive, creative energy is a form of value in itself. It makes you a person others want to be around. It makes you a leader, regardless of your title. A task performed with a brilliant attitude is worth 10 times a task performed with resentment. This energy is a deposit into the universal bank that has a magnetic and multiplying effect. The third is the currency of quantity. This, of course, means rendering more service. But again, this is not about mindlessly working unpaid overtime. It is about proactively identifying and solving problems beyond your immediate job description. It is about seeing a need and filling it without being asked. It is about making yourself so useful, so integral to the enterprise, that you become utterly indispensable. To truly master this principle, you must undergo a profound psychological shift. You must stop seeing your work, your job, your business as a place where you trade your time for money. That is the servant's mindset. You must begin to see your work as a laboratory and a gymnasium. It is a laboratory where you can experiment with your skills, where you can test your ideas, where you can cultivate the habit of excellence without immediate risk. Every task, no matter how mundane, becomes an opportunity to refine your craft. It is a gymnasium where you can build your value muscles. Every time you go the extra mile, every time you choose a positive attitude over a negative one, every time you deliver a higher quality of work than is required, you are performing a repetition. You are building your capacity to create value. The stronger these muscles become, the greater the opportunities you will be able to handle in the future. This mindset requires a deliberate detachment from the immediate outcome. You are no longer working for the praise of your supervisor. You are no longer concerned if your extra effort is noticed today or tomorrow. Your focus is on the immutable, universal law. You are playing a much bigger game. This detachment gives you a sense of freedom, of power, of quiet confidence. You are not seeking approval. You are creating value, secure in the knowledge that the cosmic ledger is being kept, and the universe is a just and generous paymaster. The inevitable result of living by this code is what I call the unseen promotion. The world may see you in the same job for a time, but you are not the same person. You are growing, you are compounding, you are becoming a magnet for opportunity. And then, one day, the dam breaks. The promotion, the offer, the breakthrough arrives. To the outside world, it looks like a stroke of good luck. But you will know the truth. It was not luck. It was law. It was the logical, mathematical, and inevitable result of the thousands of deposits of surplus value you made in silence when no one else was watching. This is the ultimate secret of the men and women who seem to rise as if by magic. They are not magicians. They are simply farmers of a cosmic law. They understand that you must sow before you can reap, and that the harvest, when it comes, is always far, far greater than the single seed that was planted. So I charge you with this. Stop thinking transactionally. Start thinking creatively. See your work as your personal laboratory for greatness. Every day, in every task, with every interaction, find a way to do more, to be more, to give more than is required of you. Make your deposits into the universal bank with a cheerful and faithful heart. Do this, and I promise you, a day will come when the universe opens its vaults to you, and you will receive a return so abundant, so magnificent, that it will make all your previous efforts seem like a small and worthy price to pay. We have reached the end of our journey of deciphering, and the beginning of your journey of mastery. We have walked together through the hidden corridors of a timeless philosophy, unlocking the secret codes that lie just beneath the surface of common understanding. We have decoded the mastermind, transforming it from a simple networking group into a crucible of psychic and spiritual power. We have veiled the six-side faith, restoring them the realm of mystical fantasy to their right place, and the most practical and potent tools of sovereign mind. We have stood in the heart of the furnace and decoded the true nature of a burning desire, understanding it not as a fleeting emotion, but as an alchemical state of being. We have learned the alchemist's secret of self-control, seeing it not as suppression, but as the art of transmuting raw emotional energy into the flow of achievement. And we have uncovered the cosmic trigger hidden within the doing more than you paid for. Understand a scientific method for activating the universal law of returns. You have now the keys to the kingdom. You have tools, the strategies, the internal mechanisms to achieve any definite purpose you can hold in your mind. But a kind of key, no matter how powerful, is useless without a hand to turn them. A set of tools, no matter how brilliant, is inert without an architect to wield them. This brings us to the final, the ultimate, the all-encompassing code. It is the code that gives meaning and power to all the others. It is the bedrock upon which the entire edifice of achievement is built, and without it, all the other principles are but shifting sands. We are here to decipher the ultimate code of personal responsibility and its relationship to the cosmic laws that govern our existence. Now, I know that the phrase personal responsibility may seem simple, even mundane to you. The surface-level teaching, the one the world has taught you, is that you should take ownership of your actions, that you should not blame others for your misfortunes, that you should be a dependable and honest person. This is all true, and it is all kindergarten-level wisdom. The hidden code, the profound and radical truth that underpins this entire philosophy, is something far more vast and far more terrifying, and ultimately, far more liberating. The ultimate code is this: you are not just responsible for your actions. You are, in the final analysis, responsible for your results, all of them, the successes and failures, the joys and the sorrows, the abundance and the lack. You are not merely a participant in your life story. You are its sole and absolute architect. To the average mind, this statement is preposterous. What of the economy? He will cry. What of the actions of others? What of sickness, of accident, of the circumstances of my birth? He sees himself as a victim, a small and powerless ship tossed upon the merciless ocean of fate. The decoder of this philosophy understands the deeper law. He understands that the external world, in all its chaotic and complex glory, is nothing more than a great, impartial mirror reflecting the dominant state of his own consciousness. Your life is not a series of events that happens to you. It is a physical printout of the story that flows from you. This brings us to the great cosmic law that governs all of creation, the one that Hill and the philosopher Emerson before him referred to as the law of compensation. This is not a moral law of reward and punishment, doled out by a judging deity. It is a neutral, impersonal, and infallible law of physics. The universe is a mirror. It has no opinion of you. It has no preference for your success or failure. It is utterly impartial. Its only function is to reflect, with perfect and unerring accuracy, the energetic signature of your dominant thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. It cannot show you a smiling face if you are frowning. It cannot reflect a reality of abundance if your dominant consciousness is one of scarcity and lack.